All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Rich Baranowski from Supercharged Productions coming at you. Okay, yeah. Just checking something. Anyway, so just decided to do this. I was just kind of scrolling through YouTube on my on my cell phone, um, and I saw this video. Hold on a second. Just share this real quick. Yeah, here we go. I came across that really no. So I am a Blue Eyes White Dragon player. Boom. That's my Blue Eyes deck. Um, yeah, no, probably not the best box in the book, but nonetheless. Um, so yeah, uh, this one kind of struck a nerve with me. So I haven't watched it yet, but really failed archetype. All right. So I decided let's do a little reaction video. So I just all right. Let's see. I'm fair warning. I'm not going to be.
The Blue Eyes White Dragon is absolutely the most well-known Yu-Gi-Oh card ever. If you know something about Yu-Gi-Oh, you know about the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Used by Kaiba in the anime, this normal monster took over the game's image from the second it appeared on our screens. And, well, Konami isn't stupid, and decided to bank on the nostalgia and fan following by releasing a myriad of cards which directly or indirectly supported this powerful engine of destruction. However, quantity does not equal quality, and Blue Eyes is one of the archetypes which better exemplifies this rule. Wave after wave of support, Blue Eyes continued being an underwhelming deck year after year. So why is that? Is the archetype irredeemably unplayable? And if so, how the hell did it win the World Championship in 2016? Well, join us today as we take a look at why Kaiba's ace is not as strong as some think. Let's start where all the good stories do. At the beginning, Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon in the game's first set, and surprising to no one, features the first printing of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. At this time, the game was still in a very weird state, with extremely few playable cards and Blue Eyes barely sneaked in there. The format's extremely slow speed meant that just being able to summon a big 3000 attack beater could spell the end of the game, but more times than not was destroyed by the occasional monster removal that most playable cards of the format like Fissure facilitated. During this time, we also got the classic combo of Lord of D and the Flute of Summoning Dragon, making Blue Eyes stick a lot easier than before, and making for a pretty neat GOAT format deck. During this time, we also received the ritual monster Paladin of White Dragon, a level 4 ritual which can be summoned with the White Dragon ritual, a very by-the-numbers ritual spell with nothing special to it. Paladin is a surprisingly strong...
Nothing special to it. Dipshit is level 4 ritual. That's like easy as hell to freaking play. I mean, okay, I'm not a big fan of ritual monsters, to be honest. Never was. I never was. But come on. A level 4 ritual, that's easy as hell. Especially... So what the hell's he on about?
Card for its time. As level 4, it's not hard to get the fodder for its ritual summon, and it has a very couple of good effects during its era. You destroy a face-down monster at attacks without getting to flip it face-up, dodging the omnipresent flip effects that plague this era. You can also treat the Paladin in order to special summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or deck, but it couldn't attack that turn, truly ahead of its time. But not all was good during this period. As you should all know, the Yu-Gi-Oh movie came out around this time, and its tie-in movie pack we received the Blue Eyes Shiny Dragon. This big dragon with the original stats has a fairly strong effect, gaining 300 attack for each dragon's grave and negating any effects that target it. The issue, however, comes with its summoning method. You cannot bring it out through normal.
And also keep in mind that it's a quick effect. You can negate that effect. And also keep in mind there's no once per turn on that.
Normal means, and it requires you to tribute the Blue Eyes Dragon to summon itself from your hand, which by itself is kind of clunky and hard to achieve. But to add insult to injury, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon wasn't released until 2008, 4 years after Shiny Dragon. I think that kind of exemplifies the entire Blue Eyes situation pretty well. A little bit later in 2005, the deck got a couple of new toys.
No, it does not.
Toys in the form of Kaiba Man and Burst Stream of Destruction, which did little in the way of giving the deck any relevance. And for a
And it's also hilarious that Seto Kaiba is a playing card. And of course, his effect would be bring out the blue eyes.
Long while, that was all the anime favorite got in the way of support.
Oh, that can't be a real one, is it? It's not a real card. No. Okay.
It wouldn't be until 2008, during the 5Ds era, where we got our first actual good Blue Eyes card in the White Stone of Legend. This monster could search the original Blue Eyes White Dragon whenever it was sent to the graveyard, which could be often. It being a level 1 tuner made the card exceedingly valuable, allowing for interesting synchro builds of the deck. Nonetheless, the biggest impact this card had was buffing the Royal Magical Library Exodia decks thanks to the 2010s Cards of Consonance. This spell could discard any dragon tuner from your hand to draw 2 cards, and was pretty clearly designed to work with the White Stone of Legend, to the point that it's featured in the card's artwork, allowing you to draw 2 cards and then search for the dragon. This was played in tandem with Trade-In, a spell which could discard Blue Eyes to draw 2 more cards. These spells worked wonders for Royal Magical Library strategies, for one of non-once per turn spells in order to draw your entire deck. This made for a pretty impressive deck, capable of turboing Exodia by drawing through a whole bunch of spell effects. This engine, with Cards of Consonance and Trade-In, also saw a lot of success in Edison Format's Disaster Dragon deck. This deck sought to utilize the ability of the Blue Eyes engine to speed up their deck in order to draw a mass amount of cards with Super Rejuvenation, since you spent most of your turn discarding dragons. Still, while the deck has found a lot of success in the modern Edison format landscape, at the time it was anything relevant. While 2011 saw the release of Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is more of a malefic monster than a Blue Eyes one, it wouldn't be until 2013 when Konami decided to create what is probably their most soul-structured deck to date in Saga of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. This deck introduced some extremely powerful cards. We saw the first printing of the highly relevant Dragon Shrine, which found itself in a lot of Dragon decks since then. More importantly to us, we also got Maiden with Eyes of Blue, a level 1 light tuner which was able to summon Blue Eyes from anywhere when it was attacked or targeted by an effect. We also received our first synchro, one of the deck's main focuses, in Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, which could protect all your dragons and summon back your Blue Eyes on the crackback. But not all of the cards in this deck were hits. We also got one honorary Eyes of Blue monster in Rider of the Stormwinds. This level 1 tuner is essentially a Union monster with a Union subtype. However, it can only be equipped to a normal monster, giving it piercing battle damage, a clunky, restricted battle phase boost. But at least you can equip it from your hand, unless themselves to be on the field. But even so, yeah, not exactly what is needed at the time. And to add insult to injury, the deck included a reprint of Monster Born when the card was still banned. Still, these cards managed to make Blue Eyes a deck. Mind you, not a good deck, not even a decent deck, but a deck after all. And that pretty much concludes all of the relevant showings of the Blue Eyes Dragon in 13 years. But as players would soon find...
What? Dude, that freaking structure deck had some really good cards in it, okay? Yeah, okay, Rider of the Storm was not really good, and yeah, okay, reprinting a card that's bad, pretty bad. But here, got my Blue Eyes deck right here. This is my extra deck, by the way. Dragon Spirit, hello, Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Yeah, I love how we skipped right over that one. And yeah, just skip right over Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, why don't you? And I'm pretty sure that's also where White Stone of the Ancients debuted, which, in my opinion, is a much better card than Legend. Shit. Yeah. Or how about Sage with Eyes of Blue? Also a great card. It's been in the meta deck. It's pretty much been meta ever since it came out. Or it's been like it's been a staple in Blue Eyes decks ever since it came out. How about frickin' Master with Eyes of Blue? Not even a good or a decent deck. Like, really? I don't know where the hell he's getting that from.
I doubt this lack of relevance was set to change halfway through Arc 5. During the Pendulum era of the game, Konami gave a bunch of support to long-forgotten archetypes, mainly for darks featuring the Arc 5 anime, like Ancient Gears and Gem Knights, but also for the player base's favorites. Yeah, as you were all thinking, it was the 2015's Clash Rebellions where Red Eyes finally became a proper archetype. But, well, proper is kind of an overstatement, mainly just giving Red Eyes Black Dragon the ability to be an actual deck instead of just vanilla with no supporting cards. Still, this was way more than what its Blue Eyes counterpart was capable of doing, really solidifying which the superior dragon was at the time. However, this set included a warning of what was to come in the form of Melody of Awakening Dragon, designed to search for the Blue Eyes White Dragon and its support cards. Or at least that was the case for about a year. In 2016, Konami saw fit to allow Kaiba's Ace to truly be able to stand by itself as a deck with its own identity. With the release of 2016's Shining Victory, Blue Eyes White Dragon became a fully fledged archetype, with a solid and very powerful boss monster. Firstly, we got the Eyes of Blue engine, a series of level 1 light tuner monsters that aimed to help bring out the original Blue Eyes White Dragon and the new set of big dragons. More importantly, these is Sage with Eyes of Blue, which allowed you to search a level 1 light tuner on normal summon. It also can just be discarded to target and send an effect monster you control to summon.
Hold on a sec. I'm pretty sure he got this one wrong. Hold on. Guys. Like, what the fuck? Wait a minute. So I could have sworn all three of them were in this one. I thought it was. Sorry, guys. If you hear a loud whistling, that's my roommate. He's making espresso right now. Wait, Spirit Dragon wasn't there either? Shit, I could have sworn they were both. I thought they were both in the structure deck. Victory, where these cards first came out, I was wrong. Let's keep going, I guess.
Blue Eyes from your deck. Sage is a very important piece in any and all Blue Eyes decks, giving you a powerful searching capability and the choice of bringing out any Blue Eyes straight from your deck with a very small cost. We also got a retrain of the Bayan White Stone of Legend with the White Stone of Ancients. This card is also a level 1 light tuner, but instead of searching Blue Eyes when it's sent to the grave, it can summon it from the deck during the end phase, and also recycle Blue Eyes monsters from your graveyard to your hand. While much more powerful than the original.
Woohoo! A Blue Eyes monster. Okay, not Blue Eyes. It doesn't have to be Blue Eyes White Dragon, and that's probably what makes this card actually a lot better than I think too many people give it credit for. Because in the modern game, oh, no, not that one. Sorry. That also means you get to bring out. Hold on. Yeah, in the modern game, that means you also get to bring out. Ta-da! So yeah, you can bring these two out if you so choose, or well, one of these two out if you so choose as well. But I'm sure he's gonna get to that. We still got 21 minutes left of this video.
Original, this card didn't replace Stone of Legend, and the two
Should
found
have.
a sweet spot in all Blue Eyes
Should have. Why Stone of the Ancients? Way better card.
brews, each with their upsides and downsides. We also got our first actually good retrain of the original Blue Eyes White Dragon in Dragon Spirit of White. This level 8 Light Dragon is always treated as a blue.
Oh, what the hell?
Universal Technical Institute can get you ready to pursue a career doing what you love.
Blue Eyes monster, and as a normal monster while in the hand or grave. Also on summon, it's able to banish a spell or trap. It can also tribute itself as a quick effect to summon the original Blue Eyes from your hand.
Yeah, let me tell you right now, this card is freaking amazing. Totally trashes pen cards. And any pendulum deck, just don't even bother. Okay, you're going up against Blue Eyes. I got 3 of those in my deck, so don't bother. Don't bother with your pendulum monsters. They're just going to get banished. So any cards, that's one thing like people always talk about, like pendulum cards. It's like, oh yeah, you can board wipe my field. You board wipe all my monsters. They'll just come back next turn. And it's like, well, first of all, that's assuming you even get a next turn. Second of all, I got this in my freaking deck. I'm banishing your pendulum zones, which yeah, kind of fucks you over, doesn't it? So no, that's not going to happen.
As long as your opponent controls a monster. But it was not only the main deck monsters we got, we also received a new fusion monster, much easier to summon than the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and much stronger. Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon require 2 of the original Blue Eyes White.
I fucking love Twin Burst. The fact that it can freaking banish monsters that it fails to destroy. Yeah, kind of. Oh man, look at my opponent's face, and the fact that it's only got 3,000 attack points, like that's actually a plus, not a minus, because that means it can attack into like heavy hitting monsters, even a monster with like 3,200 attack points. He can swing into them, and then yeah, I'll take the battle damage, but my opponent gets their monster banished. So unless you're playing a deck that actively works with banished cards, you're pretty much fucked.
Dragon to be fusion summoned with, but can also tribute them to summon itself from your action deck without fusing. This gave you a 3,000 attack body that could attack 2 monsters each turn, but couldn't be destroyed by battle, and to banish any monster that it couldn't destroy by battle. Most importantly amongst this wave of support was a synchro monster specifically designed to obliterate the current metagame. Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon is a level 9 Light Dragon synchro with 2,500 attack and 3,000 defense, the inverse of the original Blue Eyes stats. This card has a bunch of effects, each designed to beat a specific deck of its era. Let's go through them one at a time. Firstly, it has a continuous effect where neither player can special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time. Pretty clearly designed to make this stop the Performer Pal and Magic Spectre decks and any deck making use of Soul Charge. Secondly, it can negate the activation of a card effect in the grave as a quick effect, which was made to stop the Burning Abyss decks, and capable of halting graveyard effects like those of Panthezium of the Monarchs. Thirdly, it can tribute itself as a quick effect to summon 1 Light Dragon Synchro monster from your action deck, destroying it during the end phase. This would most commonly be either Black Rose Moonlight Dragon for disruption, Stardust Spark Dragon for generic protection and making it survive the turn, or just Azure Eyes Silver Dragon for protection and follow-up. So, how did Blue Eyes do with this crazy wave of new support? Not very good, honestly. While the deck did have a lot of powerful tools at its disposal, it still folded to Monarchs, Cosmo, and all Burning Abyss variants, especially since most of the cards it received in the set were pure fodder. Cards like Master with Eyes of Blue and Protector with Eyes of Blue were just bad. Let's go through.
Master with Eyes of Blue is a good card. Dude, you summon him to the field, you can get Sage added back to your hand. And then you can use Sage's effect and get Master and Sage off the field and bring out a Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes monster, mind you. So again, you can bring up Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Then you also have the Yeah, Protector with Eyes of Blue. I'm not a big fan of that card. I don't have it in my deck. Like I don't typically use that. But and also here's another thing. You can also use Master's Effect on Maiden when she's on the field. Um, and then you can resurrect a Blue Eyes White Dragon with his effect, and then also bring out a Blue Eyes White Dragon with her effect. So you basically just played out two Blue Eyes White Dragons in one hit. Well, in one chain anyway.
Through these one by one. Protector is a tuner that summons another level 1 light tuner from your hand. Then it allows you to send an effect monster you control to the grave in order to summon a blue eyes monster from your hand. On paper, this doesn't even seem that bad until you realize that for this card to actually be useful, you need to draw it together with another Eyes of Blue and a blue eyes monster you actually want to summon. That and the fact that going second, it'll do very little, as it can be interrupted much more easily than the other Eyes of Blue monsters. Next, Master with Eyes of Blues allows you to recover a level 1 light tuner from your graveyard on normal summon. Then you shuffle Master.
Also, another card you can actually add back into your hand from the graveyard. Where is she? There she is. Effect Veiler. Yeah. So, monster that can add level 1 light tuner from your graveyard to your hand, and this card is a level 1 light tuner hand trap. So, hello. That's actually a really good card to use.
Master from the grave into your deck to send an effect monster you control to the grave in order to revive a blue eyes monster. Not exactly what you'd expect from a master, honestly. Summoning back the easy to summon monster in an archetype full of hard to summon ones just seems contradicting. Worst amongst these, however, is Priest with Eyes of Blue. It has a variation of Maiden's effect, but instead of summoning blue eyes when targeted, it lets you send an effect monster you control to the grave in order to search up to 2 blue eyes monsters with different names. Then, while Priest is in your grave, it allows you to shuffle back a blue eyes monster you control to summon or summon back. And
yeah, I'm not going to waste my energy defending Priestess. I don't use her either. Like I said, I'm not saying every freaking card in the Archetypes is a masterpiece, but definitely can't say there's no variety here.
I don't think anyone would love to spend a normal summon a monster that will only give you any value under very specific conditions. Continuing the Eyes of Blue theme, we also got the long-awaited Blue Eyes Field spell in Mausoleum of White, which didn't quite live up to its expectations.
What the hell's a Mausoleum? It's Mausoleum, idiot. Learn to freaking talk.
It just gives you an additional normal summon of an Eyes of Blue monster and buffs the attack of one monster by sending a normal monster from anywhere to the graveyard. It also theoretically can search Burst Tree of Destruction, but if you want to search for a worse Raigeki, be my guest.
This fucking guy. He's really pissing me off now. First of all, this card actually works really well with Maiden with Eyes of Blue. Okay, summon Maiden with Eyes of Blue. Okay, you got this on the field. Summon Maiden with Eyes of Blue. Bring out, and then activate its effect. Target to bring, and then chain her ability, right? So you throw out. I think it has to be, what is it? Yeah. So send one normal monster from your hand or deck. So it has to be a blue eyes white dragon. It can't be like so it can't be like Jet Dragon or anything like that. But again, so yeah, Maiden with Eyes of Blue getting the 800 is kind of not the point here. The point is to get the Blue Eyes White Dragon into the graveyard, and then you can use her with its effect, and then use her effect to bring a Blue Eyes White Dragon out onto the field. So yeah, that's actually a very good effect. And also the whole thing, bring out a worse Raigeki. Raigeki has been off and on the ban list. It has been like all over the ban list. Okay, it's been banned. It's been limited. It's been semi-limited. Um, yeah, I know it's been for. I know it's been like a year. Actually, I think it's been like 2 years now. That it's been at 3 or whatever. But yeah, Burst Stream of Destruction has never been banned. Everyone said I really hate that worse Raigeki. It's a better Raigeki. Because it, yeah, because it has an activation condition and a cost, which means it's not going to get banned anytime soon. So yeah, Raigeki's a great card unless the card is banned, in which case you can't even use it. So good for you. So no, Burst Stream of Destruction is a better Raigeki, not a worse Raigeki.
The deck also received an equip spell in the form of Beacon of White. It's literally just a much symbol of heritage, being able to...
Yeah, I don't use Beacon of White either. Let's see. If you do not control another Beacon of White, and you have 3 or more Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, target one of them, still summon it, but it has its effects negate. No, I don't like that. Also equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, banish the equipped monster. Other monsters you control cannot attack. Also, if you have any number of Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, the equipped monster can attack up to that number of times during each battle phase. Yeah, okay, just kind of like pop a monster. So bring a monster back from your... Okay, so basically bring a Blue Eyes White Dragon out from your graveyard to the field and just keep slamming into your opponent. And then it goes away. Okay, that's not the worst. Activate only while there are 3 monster cards. Actually, this card could be beneficial if you have Jet Dragon and Blue Eyes White Dragon are both in your graveyard. So yeah, I guess that kind of works.
Summon back a Blue Eyes monster, but with way too many restrictions to justify playing this unsearchable spell. And while some more support was on its way, what would follow is still considered one of the weirdest events in the game's history. Most of you will know that 2016 saw the release of the brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, The Dark Side of Dimensions. This was obviously a very big event with tons of marketing behind it. Brand new cards based on the original series, which all needed to hit the printers as soon as possible. And why did they be printed as soon as possible? Well, Konami really wanted to showcase the newly buffed Blue Eyes deck at that year's World Championship. And if they didn't release the cards for the TCG in time, the deck would be absent at the tournament. So there was a mad dash to print the Dark Side Dimensions movie pack, featuring a bunch of unplayable anime fan service cards. And also one of the cards that pushed Blue Eyes into meta contention, Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, which is a level 8 light dragon monster with 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense, which cannot be normal summoner set. It can, however, summon itself out by revealing the original Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand. Once on the board, it would be treated as the original, an effect that also applied while in the grave. Lastly, it could target and destroy one monster controlled by your opponent at the cost of not being able to attack that turn. This was the biggest boost in power Blue Eyes had ever gotten. An easy to summon body that treated as Blue Eyes while also working as removal going second. The deck's clunkiness and issues while putting bodies in the field were quickly remedied with this extremely overtuned monster designed to push the deck over the edge. This meant you could much more easily access Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon or ring gate plays like Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. So that was it. The deck had everything it needed. It was Blue Eyes' time to finally shine, which meant little because it still couldn't sneak into the meta. Blue Eyes became a rogue deck, which could sneak 1 or 2 tops from time to time, but wasn't the dominant force Konami had no doubt intended the deck to be. But this wasn't the end of Konami's scheming. Far from it. The World Championship was approaching, and they really wanted a certain deck to win. The 2016 World Championship format was weird. From the TCG side, Cosmo, an extremely dominant deck, was not legal in Japan, and as such would not be playable at all in Worlds. From the OCG side, structured decks at Okaiba had not yet been released in the West, as such ABC would not be playable at Worlds. 2 of that year's strongest decks would be absent from the tournament, which restricted players' options. Not only that, but decks like Burning Abyss...
As much as I love Seto Kaiba, I do not play ABC decks. It's a pain in the ass to frickin' play. What is this guy on about? Ugh.
Were heavily crippled in the OCG ban list, meaning you had to play a much weaker version of the archetype, only being able to run one Dante, Travel the Burning Abyss, and one Graph, Malebranche, the Burning Abyss. You get the picture. What this extremely specific environment caused was the exact perfect condition for Blue Eyes to shine, and that it did, being the most represented deck in the tournament, with the finals being a mirror match between two Blue Eyes players. And well, the match was a sight to behold. The deck, while strong, was extremely inconsistent and fragile, and resulted in a sluggish finals where both players weren't able to get their decks going and actually bricked on their first turns. And Konami achieved what it set out to do, make Blue Eyes White Dragon win the World Championship. Now, decks that win Worlds usually receive some restrictions on following ban lists, since they are obviously very strong strategies. However, if you look at the winning list, you'll notice that the only cards in it which were eventually hit are generic powerhouses like Maxi and Vanity's Emptiness, and no cards of the actual archetype were put on the list at all. I think that really goes to show just how not strong this deck actually was. While a decent strategy.
This guy's the definition of butthurt. It's like, oh, that deck that won the tournament, yeah, it didn't get banned. What is wrong with you, dude?
Strategy, it had huge issues that made the deck barely perform outside of the hyper-curated Worlds format. And indeed, while immediately after the World season, the deck saw a big rise in popularity, with even a few tops of premier events here and there, but nothing of being a rogue deck. With time, the deck's relevance continued to dwindle away, slowly relegated to just a pet deck with no capability of winning against any decent strategy. The fact that the other Blue Eyes cards released together with the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon were just completely unplayable didn't help. Deep Eyes White Dragon was the worst amongst them. This card would summon itself when a Blue Eyes monster you control was destroyed, then your opponent puts 600 life points for each dragon with a different name in your grave. You can also copy the attack of a dragon in your grave, since it originally has 0 attack and defense. However, if the card is destroyed by a card effect, it destroys all monsters your opponent controls. This does nothing for any Blue Eyes deck, honestly. It provides some mediocre battle phase tricks, which the deck absolutely doesn't need if you're actually doing what the deck wants to do. Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon might sound familiar to you, probably because you got paired up against at your locals and got weirded out by the fact it dealt double piercing damage and had a lot of protection. Still, while it was hard out, it was also hard to summon, requiring Chaos form and setup to bring it out. Still, it truly exemplifies what Blue Eyes is all about, summoning a big dragon that attacks a lot and ending your opponent. Lastly, the funniest of them all, Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This upgraded version of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon could attack up to 3 times per battle phase and banish itself from the graveyard to protect something from targeting. While underwhelming and redundant, we will always remember this card for being revealed in the underside of a Ferris wheel, a claim that very few cards could make. And after YCS Sydney 2017, the deck was completely forgotten about, overtaken by Infernoids, Zodiacs, and Meadows. This lack of presence in the metagame continued forever, and the deck has gotten 0 tops ever since. However, it would certainly be foolish to not support one of the biggest fan favorite archetypes of all time. And as such, we received a few extremely powerful support cards later. Continuing the Legendary Collection series of products, we received the Legendary Collection Kaiba. This set featured a lot of reprints of cards Seto Kaiba used in the anime, like Ring of Destruction, the XYZ monsters, and the Virus cards. What we care about, however, are the new Blue Eyes cards that released in the set, namely the King of D and Dragon Revival Rhapsody. These retrains/reimaginings of the original Lord of D and the Flute of Summoning Dragon were made to help bind together the theme, with Rhapsody being a double monster reborn with downsides, and King of D being able to search Flute, Rhapsody, or even the Melody of Awakened Dragon. This was not good at all. Given the deck a level 4 Dark Monster that had no synergy with the rest of the support the deck had received made for quite an odd design decision, and it stuck out like a sore thumb. Needless to say, these cards were not played other than some experimentation on release. A little time later, when Konami decided to restructure the way their Mega Team worked, they created a Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon as a promo card for the 2019 Gold Sarcophagus 10. While it's called Alternative, it's actually the best 3-dragon fusion you can play in a Blue Eyes deck, vastly outperforming the original Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon.
Yeah.
It has the same fusion requirement of the 3 original Blue Eyes, but you get a lot better bang for your buck. Firstly, it cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Secondly, you can target and destroy a card your opponent controls once per turn. And if you use Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon as the fusion material, you can target 3 cards instead of just 1. This is the ultimate big bad dragon with a ton of attack, protection, and ability to blow stuff up. Throw in the fact it has artwork drawn by the late Kazuki Takahashi, this is truly the crown jewel of Blue Eyes fusions.
Yep.
And if you're wondering, the reason this card is not in Master Duel is specifically because it has art drawn by the creator, where they don't include any of those cards in the game. Then, in the next year's Megatins, we saw the release of the 2 new Dark Magician / Blue Eyes White Dragon support cards, Strength and Unity, and Destined Rivals. Strength and Unity is a continuous spell which allows you to, when you ritual or fusion summon using Blue Eyes the Dark Magician, target and banish a card your opponent controls or in their grave. Later, you can send the continuous spell to the grave to add back or shuffle a level 7 or higher normal monster in your graveyard to your hand or deck. While a pretty decent effect, this card is not searchable, and odds are if you're summoning any fusion or ritual, you're already in a pretty good position and don't.
Actually, it is searchable. Wait a minute, what's this guy on about? Hold on. Let me show you. This card is totally searchable. There we go. Yeah, it's totally searchable, dude. So where are you going with this? Like, I don't even have this card in my deck, but you can totally see. If you ritual summon or fusion summon using Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes White Dragon in the text. Spell or trap that specifically lists Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, except Bingo Machine Go. There you go. So it is searchable, idiot. Know your shit before you make these videos.
Don't need this clunky spell to further those plays. Destined Rival is a normal trap card with a devastating effect. If you control either Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragon, it negates the effects of all monsters your opponent controls until the end of the turn. I don't think I need to explain why a Dark Ruler No More can activate during your opponent's turn is a strong effect. But sadly, this trap card can be very bricky and hard to find, making for a subpar experience, especially since unlike Dark Ruler No More,
again, still wrong. And besides, having a face down card, usually your opponent's gonna like try to get rid of it. It also lacks the best part about D-Ruler, the opponent not being able to respond with monsters.
This card can have its effect negated by monster effects. But that was not all. You see, for a while, Konami was doing Duelist packs sets centered around specific anime characters. And with Legendary Duelist White Dragon Abyss, we got a few support pieces, most of which are completely awful, with the exception of Bingo Machine Go. This anime reference card allows you to find both your Blue Eyes monsters and the previously hard to search Blue Eyes spell and traps. And while an extremely expensive card release, it failed to make the deck any better than before its release. As a promo card in the pack, you received a very powerful consistency tool in Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. On special summon, it allows you to search for any ritual spell, normally chaos form, or polymerization. Then during your end phase, it searches for a level 8 or higher dragon. Lastly, you can banish it from your grave to make all of your level 8 or higher dragons gain 1000 attack. This card does a lot all in one dragon. It can search enablers for Chaos Max and Fusion builds of the deck, search up follow-up, even facilitate an OTK. Truly a strong retrain that sadly doesn't much play nowadays. In the same set, we also got the extremely underwhelming, the Ultimate Creature of Destruction. With a name like that, you'd expect something else than an effect that makes one of your Blue Eyes immune to pretty much anything for a turn. Yeah, it's cool, but if it wasn't for its ability to come back from the graveyard, it would have never seen playing Blue Eyes decks. And that theme persists with Rage with Eyes of Blue, which at the low cost of banishing face down literally every card from your hand, field, and graveyard, allows you to summon the 3 original Blue Eyes White Dragons from your deck, and only your deck, so you...
Yeah, not a fan of this card either. Like I said, not all the cards in the deck, not all the cards in the archetype are perfect, but...
better not have any of them in your hand or graveyard, while also locking you out of summoning before and after activating the card. I mean, it could theoretically be used when going second as a 1-card OTK, but you could also just play your deck instead of relying on the literal definition of a glass cannon. But it wasn't all spells. Also received Blue Eyes Solid Dragon, able to summon the original Blue Eyes when your opponent activates the card, and also negates a face-up monster on its summon. Not really what the deck needed, and honestly a pretty bland card, not even really feeling like an actual Blue Eyes card with its boring art and effect. There's also Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon, which had the same protection as Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, and could switch all monsters your opponent controls the defense position while also changing their defenses to 0 and dealing piercing damage when it attacks. Actually, a pretty cool enabler for the Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon OTK, now being able to be a dedicated deck coupled with the incantation monsters in cool plays with Shin Spy and Creature Swap. A couple of years after that, we got Battle of Chaos, a core booster set with a bunch of support for Dark Magician and Blue Eyes. We received Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon, a really easy to summon fusion monster that could dish out an OTK much more easily than past monsters. To facilitate bringing out this powerful card, we got Ultimate Fusion, a quick play spell that could bring it out while also recycling your resources and destroying your opponent's cards in the process. Most importantly, however, they released a pair of very strong monsters, Dictator of D and Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. The former could summon itself by sending the original Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand to the graveyard, then gives the ability to revive any Blue Eyes monster by discarding one that mentions the original. This makes for a much better retrain of Lord of D than the King of D, seen play in pretty much all Blue Eyes brews now, as it's the Blue Eyes.
This is what 5 pounds of fat look like. If we want to lose this or more, check this out.
Thinking about starting to run on the treadmill.
Circular. The other card is a reference to Kaiba's jet in the original Yu-Gi-Oh movie, and grants your other cards protection against destruction. It can also easily summon itself from your hand or grave at any time a card on either field is destroyed, making for incredible recursion as long as you have the original Blue Eyes on field or in the grave. Lastly, if it battles, it has the ability to target and return a card your opponent controls to the hand. This really changed the way the deck was built, making for a much more interesting control build, making use of Jet Dragon and in tandem with Skill Drain as a way to always have the best monster on the field. In this same set, we received Vision with Eyes of Blue. This continuous spell can summon any monster from your hand if you reveal a Blue Eyes White Dragon when you activate it. It can then return a monster you control to the hand and summon any monster from your hand if the returned monster was the original Blue Eyes, or a Blue Eyes monster if it wasn't. This sounds a lot better than it actually is. Sure, you can summon a Blue Eyes from your hand, but do you know what else can do that? Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, and it can do it by itself. The last card we got is True Light. This trap card acts as the counterpart to Dark Magician's Eternal Soul. It grants protection to the original Blue Eyes White Dragon, and a way of searching for spells and traps, while also reviving your Blue Eyes. And yes, it also blows up your whole board if your opponent destroys it. While most of these support cards are very, very good, the deck is fundamentally flawed to the point where these cards existing doesn't really change the deck's position. It still relies on a normal monster for all of its plays.
So here's a confusing as hell question. If you have Blue Eyes Jet Dragon on the field and True Light gets destroyed, does it still board wipe your field? I don't think it does, actually. I think only Jet Dragon would get destroyed, but if your Jet Dragon's on the field, then that's actually not much of a cost. You actually won't pay the cost. So, a little bit of a workaround there. 2 cards to pull off, but
and plays a lot of high-level monsters that can't do anything in your hand by themselves, so you're prone to bricking. And a lot of their best cards have weird restrictions for no reasons, where they wouldn't even be good enough to see play if they didn't have these restrictions and in fact had beneficial effects for getting destroyed. Now, we've made pretty clear that Blue Eyes was never actually a good deck, but that's not entirely true. Yes, that statement applies to the TCG, but not to Duel Links. Since the mobile game has a very large focus on the anime, it's only natural that Konami would dedicate a lot of effort towards making the most popular anime archetype playable, and so they did, with Blue Eyes being one of the best decks in the game's history. Originally, the deck was a decent-ish rogue strategy, making some funky plays using their very limited tools, including Cosmo Brain, which allowed the deck to not break as much as it previously did. This coupled with the alternative evolution skill, which could transform a Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field into the Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, giving you access to Blue Eyes' best card, but in an odd way. However, it seems that history repeated itself. As you might remember, Blue Eyes only became a relevant deck in the TCG when the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon was released, and the exact same thing happened in Duel Links. While players only had access to one of them, they also received the skill Ultimate Dragons, which could, by revealing 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons in your hand, add 1 Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon to your extra deck, as well as polymerization to your hand. This allowed you to end the game very quickly by facilitating the summon of one of Blue Eyes' most powerful fusions. Coupled with the aforementioned alternative, this made Blue Eyes pretty much the best deck in Duel Links for a good while, sometimes even considered tier 0. This deck even got a lot of new toys with the release of Sage with Eyes of Blue, Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, and the skill Blue Eyes Dimension, which allowed you to normal summon Blue Eyes without tributing, and facilitates bringing Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon out. However, time seems to be Kaiba's worst enemy, as new card releases and small ban list changes push Blue Eyes out of the metagame and into the pit of dross that is low-ranked Duel Links. So, what's next for the deck? Can it have a future? Well, there's a lot to unpack here. Firstly, most anime decks get a steady flow of support cards, so you never know when Blue Eyes is going to win the next World Championship off the back of a new busted support card in a fixed format. Still, the deck has a series of fundamental flaws which really tilt the scale against the deck's viability. For starters, it's a deck centered around a normal monster. This is very, very bad. Most decks centered around a specific monster make use of their powerful effects, like with Sky Striker Ace Ray and Eldritch the Golden Lord. Meanwhile, Blue Eyes White Dragon is essentially a 3k token. This means that the deck's main objective is to summon a monster that does little to advance the game state, other than be a big body with no effect. This issue carries on to the deck's consistency, since you need to see Blue Eyes White Dragon to play the deck, but the card itself does little to help you win, and even less in your hand. This has caused the deck to gain a well-deserved fame of being supremely inconsistent, and experiencing brick after brick. The deck also lacks cohesion. It's trying to do a bunch of very different things at once.
What is it? Seriously, again, what is this guy on about? I like never fucking when I'm playing my Blue Eyes deck. Okay, that freaking Brick Eyes insult, it's really, really not relevant anymore. It just doesn't happen. I can't even remember the last time I actually bricked when playing Blue Eyes. Like, that just doesn't happen anymore. I'm sorry, but your opinion of Blue Eyes White Dragon is completely unfactual and out of date. Okay? Sorry, dude, but no.
First,
and the lack of cohesion thing. Depends on what kind of Blue Eyes deck you're going for. It's got a lot more range. Seriously, seriously, my main strategy with Blue Eyes White Dragon is destroy opponent's board and then pummel them. It's basically, everyone refers to Blue Eyes as like a beatdown strategy. It's kind of true, but between Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, which can banish back row cards, you got Stream of Destruction, which can board wipe. You've got you've got Ultimate Fusion, which can recycle your resources. Yeah, put the 3 Blue Eyes monsters back into your deck. You can then use that to fusion summon the alternative Ultimate Dragon, and especially if you're using what is it, Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon as one of the materials for it, then you can destroy. Then not only will Ultimate Destruction destroy your opponent's field, but also so will the alternative Ultimate Dragon. So that's like 6 cards on your opponent's field that you can basically just destroy. He adds up to that many. So yeah, this is kind of a dumbass argument. Again, it's all about board destruction as far as the way I've got my deck set up. And then again, if you have 2 Jet Dragons on the field, your board is unbreakable. Unless your opponent uses something like Evenly Matched, in which case, but that card pretty much fucks everyone, so what are you gonna do?
Cards that care about or straight up call Blue White Dragon. Second, Blue Eyes. Third, cards that mention Blue Eyes White Dragon. Fourth, level 1 light tuners. 5th, synchro summoning level 9 monsters. 6th, fusion summoning. 7th, rhythm summoning Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragons specifically. Well, you get the idea. For a deck with such a strong visual identity, it completely lacks a gameplay focus. While this can be a good thing, it gives the deck a large variety of interesting directions to build towards. In this case, it makes it feel loose and inconsistent with its objectives. On top of all of that, while it has strong cards, the deck lacks any sort of follow outside of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, which, while very powerful, cannot carry the entire deck on its back. Meaning that if your opponent beats your
It
already
doesn't
fragile
have
board,
to,
odds
idiot.
are you're out of the game then and there. And it's true, playing Blue Eyes is an exercise in patience and pure devotion. You most likely already know the deck isn't very good. You know it has a million different builds and all of them are mediocre. And
You
don't
know
care,
the
and that's
Duelist
fine.
is full
Blue Eyes White
of
Dragon
shit.
doesn't need to be a meta deck. It doesn't need to be in all the top tables event after event. All it needs to do is summon cool dragons and screw the rules. So while yes, it utterly fails as a playable deck, which theoretically should be able to win, it succeeds as what it really should be, a love letter to fans devoted to one of anime's most iconic characters. So that's it. A pretty comprehensive history of the Blue Eyes White Dragon as a game piece. Its ups and its many downs. And its feeble identity as
That
a
is
deck.
so full of
What are
shit.
your thoughts on Blue Eyes as a deck? Think it will be playable again? Let me know in the comments and see you in the next video.
See, I'm very much convinced this guy's just trying to demoralize people and like discourage them from playing decks that he can never beat. Okay, that's what I think this is. He's trying to discourage people from playing decks just because he doesn't like them, or he probably can't beat them or whatever. So anyway, guys, enough out of this jackass. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this live stream. I'm going to end it right here for now. If you did, hey, I'll see you in the next one.